Hello, hello. It is Christmas Eve. It is December 24th. It is the 24th day of Vlogmas. And here we are yet again. Hello to everybody that's here. Oh, wow. From Panama. I love you. Love you, love you. Hey, y'all. All right. I don't know if there's going to be anybody new here, but the YouTube algorithm does its thing. So there is the possibility that somebody is getting fed this video to their feed and they're like, What's going on? What? So, hello. My name is Adelia Abora-Jade, and this is my YouTube channel, Picky Girl Travels the World. That's me. I am the picky girl, and I be traveling. Except this December, I am at home, and so I opted to do Vlogmas, where I come on live at 2 p.m. Eastern every day from December 1st through December 25th. Today is the 24th time I've gone live this month. And what do we talk about on this channel? We talk about travel, we talk about living abroad, and we talk about money because you need money to do the things you want to do. And that's what I want for you. I want you to be able to live the life you want, whatever that happens to look like for you. So if you're new here, welcome. We are glad to have you join the Picky Girl Nation. Hit the subscribe button so that you can get more content like this. You can turn on notifications so that when I go live or upload a new video, you'll be the first to know. Hello, everybody. Okay, so I have been hee-hawing around this morning and not, I am working on the dress I intend to wear to dinner tonight. So we'll see if that actually happens like it's supposed to. This is the dress I intended to wear to see Adele in October, but I hee-hawed around then, and then like 1, 2 a.m. before the day I was supposed to leave, I was just like, nah, I can't do it. So while I work on putting this elastic in the waistband, this is an Ask Me Anything. This is a Q&A. I don't know what else there is to say at this point because I've been talking for 23 days. But if by chance there is something you want to know that I've yet to answer, please feel free to drop that in the chat. Yes, that is the plan for dinner tonight. In theory, once I put this elastic in the waistband and I hem it, it should go. This is the dress that I cut out on your floor out of that very silky drapey fabric that I never want to work with ever again. Because it sucks. This fabric. I can't hold up the dress, but this is kind of what it's gonna look like. In particular, I'm really excited about the V in the back, but we'll see. Okay. Aside from Mia's dog food, are there other items you wish you could buy there that isn't available? If I cooked or I ate like a normal person, there would probably be more things that I would add to this list to answer your question. Um, the first thing that came to mind, stuff that I wish I could get here, Screwball peanut butter whiskey. They do not import it to Mexico. At least I haven't found it. I would appreciate that because as it works right now, I only buy a bottle when I go back to the States, but I have to be checking a bag. And I am team carry-on, and I try not to check a bag, especially because everybody wants to charge you for checking a bag now. So I wish I could get that here. I'm trying to think what else have I had to order. Oh, something else for Mia. Mia is a bit of a senior citizen. And so I wanted to get some supplements to help with incontinence. And apparently, I'm guessing that they must not be sold in Mexico at all. because I went to Petco and I asked the man, I told him in Spanish, I needed a supplement for incontinence. And that man showed me every other kind of supplement under the sun. I go to the aisle where like the pee pads and the doggy diapers are. I've never seen such a variety of doggy diapers in my life, but not a single supplement. So the only way I can get that is from the US. My friend is coming to town next week. I'm going to task her with bringing some because I ordered some from Amazon, which I hate to do because I hate to give Amazon more money, but I also paid triple what I know it costs in the US. So that is something else that I wish was here. And then, of course, I wish the fabric selection in Mexico didn't focus so heavily on man-made synthetic fabrics. I would prefer more natural fiber fabrics, and that just is not a thing here. So pretty much all of the fabric that I work with, I have either bought it while I was traveling or I have had to buy it, have it go to somebody's house in the States, and either they bring it to me or I bring it when I visit. So yeah, that uh that's how I would answer that question. Okay, I'm going through here right now, and the questions I see, I'm starring them so I can come back to them. Y'all, my refrigerator, I don't know what the lady who cleans my house must think because there is never food in my refrigerator. There is always plenty of alcohol, but there is never food. And I know she's like, what does that woman do? Does that woman survive? Okay, so we got that question. Why are you moving and how did the viewing go? The viewing did not go well. Technically, the viewing went fine. The apartment I went to see um was not great, but for not the reasons you would expect. Um, this particular building is only like 7 years old, but the unit had been remodeled a year ago, which I thought was odd. And what it turns out is somebody owned the apartment on the top floor, right below the roof garden. Apparently, he is an architect and he bought the portion of the roof garden directly over his apartment and then cut a hole in the floor and turned his one-story apartment into a two-story apartment. And in order to do that, he shifted things around, but it now means that like what used to be the kitchen is now a bathroom, and the stairs are in what used to be a bathroom, and it wasn't executed at the level that I think it should have been for the rent they were asking for. Is also, no man should ever make design decisions without talking to a woman first. And it was obvious there is no woman in his life, or he did not consult a woman. So that's how the viewing went. Why am I moving? There are a couple reasons, but probably my biggest one is I need to lower my housing cost. Y'all have heard me, Rashida, talk about the change in the value of the peso. My rent before I last time I renewed my lease, my rent in effect had gone up $150 simply because of the currency exchange. It's not about can I afford it? Because I can technically, but I don't want to pay it. I have like a number set in my head what's appropriate to pay for rent here, and I don't like paying more than that. So that's part of the reason that I want to move is because I want to lower my housing costs. Okay. Ba, 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 ba. So the search continues. I have another one scheduled for Tuesday, and I think that's the one. But finding an apartment here is not an easy thing. So, I continue to look at listings, but I do have another showing lined up. Um, I cannot remember the name of the neighborhood that I stayed in when I was in Portugal this last time. When I first went, I was like right in the middle of the tourist area, which I do not recommend to live in unless you like living among hordes and hordes of tourists. I can tell you in Lisbon, where I stayed was right where the Corte Inglés is. Like that was a 3-minute walk from I was right there by that metro stop. In Spain, it's been a minute since I have been to Spain, and I do not recall where I stayed. Um, Sorry. Okay. Um, let's say my fire number is $100,000 and I invest in index funds. So I reach that number after I've invested $100,000 or the account reaches $100,000. Okay, now remember, y'all, I am a financial educator. I am not a financial advisor. I'm not a financial planner. I am not licensed to give anybody financial advice. Let's make sure we remember that. I can tell you that when people talk about fire and they talk about calculating their fire number, that number is the value of their portfolio, not how much they've put into it. So that should answer your question. Um, what was the big controversy regarding the CNBC feature? As an internet person, I know better than to go read the comments, but I couldn't help myself because I was a little nervous in doing that because you never know how these things will turn out. The same ladies, well, one of the ladies who had worked on the other video and the other article that I was featured in, she was part of this, and she did a good job the last time I thought, but this was coming out right on the heels. I don't know if y'all saw the Black lady from Atlanta who bought a house in Sicily. There was some drama about hers because they made it sound like she couldn't afford a house in the United States. And that woman's like a millionaire and owns multiple businesses and she owns like a ranch and something else. And so that even added to my nervousness because I'm like, you have no control over what people write. So I went to the comments and I can say that there are several of y'all, several folks from the Picky Girl Nation did show up in the comments and say nice things. And I appreciate that. But one of the things that I noticed in the comments is people did not like that I said that I don't budget. Like that rubbed some folks the wrong way. Um, and it's very interesting how much people care about what I'm doing with my money. But if you're on my mailing list, you got an email about that today. I did a video that is on this channel about you don't need to budget, where I talk about why you don't need to budget and why I don't budget. Okay. This question, those of you who have been around for a while, y'all know this question comes up all the time. And I do not understand why this is a big deal, but I will answer you. Oops, sorry, I'm trying to thread this elastic through here and I pulled too hard and it came out. In Mexico, are you allowed to flush toilet paper? It depends. Some places you can, some places you can't. Uh, can you name one or two places where you can? And if you live there, Mexico City, there are parts of this city that you cannot flush the toilet paper in. And then there are parts that you can. So it may vary neighborhood by neighborhood, street by street. Um, I think I'm assuming you're an American, because that's who tends to get really worked up about this. Not that I'm saying you're worked up, but this tends to be more of a concern for Americans. It's not that big of a deal, y'all. It's the difference between throwing it in the toilet and throwing it in the trash can next to the toilet. Same, but different. Ha ha ha. Do you have a realtor you recommend? I have never successfully worked with an agent of any sort in my various apartment hunting here in Mexico City. Y'all, somebody in the comments may have a realtor that they are willing to recommend, but I personally have never worked with one successfully. And that doesn't necessarily mean anything about them. It's just, I think, partially the nature of what apartment hunting is like in this city. It's really difficult. And the two apartments that I have rented, I found on my own. Now, they one of them was actually listed by an agent, but that agent was not working for me. I found the apartment uh, so that I could go see it. All right. Mm, going through here, just marking other questions that I see. Ba, 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 ba. All right. Are there are there any places you would recommend for LGBTQ couples? In I don't know if you mean specifically in Mexico or if you mean in the world. In Mexico, I think Mexico City is very friendly to the alphabet folks. There is a video that I did because I can't remember the name of the website right now, but there's a video I did. The thumbnail says something like, the US doesn't want, or they don't want us to succeed. And it was a response to the striking down of affirmative action. And in the description of that video, I share a website that um, curates information about like safety laws, how LGBTQ friendly a place is. So if you go to that video um, and you look in the description, you can find a website that should help in in discovering those places. But I think Mexico City is a very friendly place. Mm, in applying for permanent Mexico residency on the application, okay, I just got to the end of the casing for the elastic. They asked for length of stay. Should I answer that it will be less than 180 days? If you want permanent residency, you need to say it's going to be more than 4 years, because that's who permanent residency is for, people who plan to be here longer than 4 years. So, uh, do you ever get sickness from drinking the water? I have never gotten sick from drinking the water. I have only gotten sick from food twice, once in South Korea and once in Morocco. How do you deal with it? How do you avoid it? I don't drink the tap water here, although the safety of the tap water, Mexico City delivers clean water. Now, what happens between that water between the tank it gets pumped into and how it gets to your apartment? Who knows? But I have a water filter called an eco filtro. So I don't drink tap water. I think that's the easiest way. And as far as food goes, I don't eat food at places that look like they might make me sick. So, um, yes, I am restricting myself to housing in Mexico City. There is no other place for me to be in Mexico at this time. Uh, okay. So Diane wants to know, what areas am I looking to live? This is not an easy question to answer, because what is important is that I also have access to mass transit. Where I live right now, I have access to three different bus lines, a trolley bus line and a metro bus line. So I need something similar to that, but I need a more affordable place. But I am open to where that can be. It is not, you can't just say, other than saying like the further you move out, things get cheaper. Like if I didn't mind living in the far reaches of the southern part of the city, I could get a 4-bedroom house for less than I pay for this apartment. However, I do not drive, so I don't want to be out in the boonies. Um, I have not had any downside to using the Eco Filtro. Um, I use the water to cook with. I give the water to the dog. I wash my dishes in the water that comes out of the faucet. Um, so yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on what part of the city you're in. Y'all got to remember, when I lived in Honduras, like you could smell the water when it came out of the tap. And one of the first things they told me was make sure you keep your mouth closed when you take a shower. So between trying not to get water in my mouth, but also I had a suicide shower head which had electrical current running to it, and you could hear it go pss, pss, pss. Um, I'm not very pressed about the water quality situation here in Mexico City. I think, and I'm not directing this to you, Simi. I think a lot of folks from the US get very caught up in, because that was another comment I saw on the CNBC stuff, was like, oh, she live in Mexico, but you can't even drink the water there. Um, what is it like? There are 11 states in the United States where you can't drink the water. So, you know, I think I think we need to collectively, we just need to chill about some of this stuff. When we're going other places in the United States, they should be doing a better job. Uh, you know, I why is this not clicking in the right place? It, you know what? There are some people. Here was my thing. When I read the article, when I watched the video, I felt like they represented me accurately. So looking at some of them crazy comments, and I'm like, but how did you watch this video and make that comment? How'd you get there? And I was like, these are people who don't care what it said. They may not have even watched the thing or read the thing, but just saw the title. So I appreciate that. But yeah, people on the internet be wild. Uh, I'm just going through because we've got about another 5 minutes. So I'm trying to mark the rest of these questions. I think I got them. All right. So what other questions? Oh, Cardona, thank you for the super sticker. Appreciate that. Um, Are you concerned about the Mexican presidential election? Is the political climate anticipated to be the same? Unlike the situation in the United States, I feel, and this is me as an outsider looking in, I feel like everybody feels that the presidential election here has already been decided. The front runner is the, what do you call the person that you've like mentored, like they're the heir apparent to the current president, and she's currently the most popular of the candidates that are running. So it is not, I don't expect it to be the dramatic thing that the US election is going to be. So no, I'm not super concerned about that. She was the governor of Mexico City, the head of government. So, I mean, it's not like she's an unknown entity. I think everybody knows what they're getting with her. So, and again, I'm an outsider looking in. There may be nuances that I am missing. Uh where do the upper class live in CDMX? Average rent cost, please. In Polanco, rents and real estate prices are listed in US dollars. If you want to live in Polanco, I think you need to budget at minimum for $5,000 a month in rent. Uh, you might be able to find, I'm talking about something that's actually in Polanco and not Polanco adjacent. If you are, if if you're in like Lomas to the area to the west of Polanco, I saw a house when I was looking for apartments. That house was 29 million pesos, which was, I think, like $1.7 million. Uh, in Lomas, I've seen rents 10,000 USD, 18,000 USD. So that's where the upper class lives, and that's what they're paying. So y'all already know that ain't the neighborhood for me. Um, do you get your groceries from grocery stores or the markets? The markets intimidate me. I made a video, like it might have been the second video I ever made on this channel. A friend of mine who is a chef went with me to the mercado, to the Tianguis, the weekly market. Um, I do not shop at the Mercado or the Tianguis because I don't buy produce. And if you want the freshest produce, that's where you go. You don't go to a grocery store. I also don't like to cook. So, buying food that requires me to cook it, I am not a fan of that. So, I go to Wild Fork. I did a video about it. It is a store with nothing but frozen stuff in it. Convenience food. That's my speed. I did go to the grocery store earlier this week because I needed some toilet paper and I regretted going because it was the middle of the Christmas thing. The grocery store was in a mall. The lines were long. If I was not running out of toilet paper, I'd have left all that stuff there and walked out. So I I don't shop at the Tianguis or the Mercado primary unless I'm going to like buy tacos because I don't cook and I don't eat produce. So that's the less than glamorous life that I live. Um, you mentioned that it is not easy to find an apartment in Mexico City. Is that because the city is overcrowded? I don't feel that the city is overcrowded. Now, is the population density here high? Yes, it is. I have made this comparison before and got people in my comments like this is not a Googleable thing. Mexico City and Houston, Texas are roughly the same size geographically. Houston is actually a little bit bigger. However, if you look at the metropolitan area in Houston and you look at the metropolitan area here, I think Houston has about 4 million and Mexico City has about 22 million. So density is going to be higher. It's not really overcrowded. There are a couple of things at play. One, aren't there's not enough housing in the places people want to be. Same problem we have in the United States. You add to that um, that the class of people who own the places that people would want to rent um, are not, they're not driven, I think, the way landlords are in the US. A lot of small landlords is like, I need people in here to pay this rent because my mortgage is due. Most of the people who own apartments here own them outright. And so if people are not willing to pay them what they think it's worth, they'll let it sit empty. There's that. There is simply because there are more people looking to rent an apartment than there are apartments. And finding someone who will rent to you and their requirements you actually being able to meet them, that also makes it difficult. It's even harder now, I feel, because there's a lot more competition for the stock that is available. I don't know if that means there are more people or if that means there's less stock available, but there's definitely more competition. So it was already difficult to find a place before. You throw into the mix, you might send out, 6, 8, 10 messages to see places, and maybe 3 of them hit you back. And then one of them uh, doesn't show up, so that adds to it as well. This is not, especially if you're comparing it to other parts of Mexico, this is not an easy place to rent. It just isn't. There are places in other areas of the country where you just show up and you like, "Hey, I wanna rent this," and they're like, "Fine, you got some money?" Mexico City is more difficult than that. Um, yeah, okay. I'm going back here to see what other questions came in while I was looking at those, and then we will wrap this up, and then we only have one more day of Vlogmas. Ba, 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 ba. Okay. I'm coming to Mexico City for a short trip. How much cash would you recommend I have on hand in pesos? Um, Not a lot. If you're coming here, one, I would not get pesos before you came. I would go to an ATM. If you have, and you should, if anybody's watching this channel, they should have an ATM card that does not charge them transaction fees and that foreign transaction fees and that rebates ATM fees. Um, Most of what tourists do here, you can pay with a credit card. The things that you need cash for is if you're gonna go, like you're gonna buy street food. Not that there aren't some street vendors that will take your card, but the vast majority of them don't. Buying street food, you're gonna go like to small businesses. I'd have cash for that. And I would not carry large amounts of cash on me. So I would just hit up the ATM as needed. And that's my take on that. Um, okay. Um, as a resident, is it easy to come and go to other countries? Yes. I was just talking to somebody about this yesterday. Um, Unlike countries like Portugal and Spain and France, I don't know if this is true about France. I assume it is. There is no requirement for how much time you have to spend in the country when you have Mexican residency. So as long as you are here, and if you need to renew your residency card, long as you're here to do that, Mexico doesn't care. Here's the thing, you need to make sure that you check out with immigration before you exit the country. I have to show, once I go through airport security, there's a immigration kiosk. I have to go there. I have to show them my passport, my residency card, and my boarding pass. They stamp my passport to say I left. When I come back through immigration, I hand the people my immigration card, then I hand them my passport, they stamp it, and it says that I am a resident coming back. People mess up when they come back in, and the immigration people, they're like, "Oh, American, tourist, 180 days." If you have residency, that is your nightmare because you can lose your residency like that. So other than that, I think it's a very easy country. Okay, 2 more questions and we're out. Are there apps and sites for roommates in Mexico City? Yes, there are. I don't remember all the names of them, but there are, because one is called, I think it used to be called Roomie. I don't know what it's called now, but yes, there are websites specifically for roommates. There are WhatsApp groups. That's the whole thing. Because again, this isn't really a place where people live alone. Um, all right, last question. Where would you like to get a student visa? What would you study? I have mentioned before that when it comes to me getting residency in another country, that I'm holding on to the possibility of getting a student visa kind of as like my visa of last resort. um, I don't know where I would go, but I would probably study geography because I still don't have a geography degree. I almost got one, but I told y'all I've dropped out of graduate school multiple times. So it would probably be geography, urban planning, something like that. Um, I don't know. Maybe Spanish. I don't know, but probably that. All right. Um, Okay, that's it for today, y'all. I will see y'all tomorrow, 2 p.m. Uh, Here today in Mexico, this is the big day. Noche Buena is Christmas Eve night. That is when everybody gets together. So it's been a pretty laid back day here today. But for all of y'all that are celebrating Christmas tomorrow, Merry Christmas. All right, I will see y'all then.